Be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together.
All right, welcome to another episode of Built to Exit with your humble host, me, Jason Sisneros. And this week we're going to be talking about a subject from zero to exit, and how I built a multi-million-dollar exit for myself. And this episode, as we start to get into it, I was at an event in Nashville, Tennessee, and with a group of buyers. What we do here at Built to Exit, and I think it's a good point for us to let you know, those of you that are new to the podcast, those of you that are new to the Built to Exit community, to remind you, we do have a program. Built to Exit is for business owners that come to the wise decision that they are going to, that everybody exits, right? When you think about that for just a second, a lot of us in the business world, we get on the thing. We're like, oh, well, we're going to be doing this forever. Eventually you will exit. That's the point. Everybody exits. How matters. And so we talk about the three types of exits, all three of which I have now experienced in my career. One is the involuntary exit, and that's where it's not your choice, right? I had 3 business failures. Those were involuntary exits. We've worked with families of businesses where the owner passed away and they left a mess for that family to be able to pick up at the end of it. So the idea that we exit, it's just there, and more business owners that come to that conclusion means that now the business owner community, the people that hear that message, can actually build their businesses accordingly. The second type of exit that we talk about is called a dictated exit. And that simply means that you get caught in an environment. You have a partner that wants out. You have a partner that passes away. You have something that interrupts you have a health scare, something happens in your family, and you're like, you know what? I got to get rid of this business. And when you decide too late that you're like, I need to sell my business right now, there's a lot of things that happen. You might be able to sell it. I was in this position. I didn't have to sell, but I thought, I've now finally built something that I could sell. And I ran into somebody who knew what they were doing. And it was a private equity firm, and they kicked my ass in the sale. They probably paid me half of what it was worth. They drugged out it took about 3 years to finally collect all the money. It was a painful process. And that is what happens when you get caught with your pants down, metaphorically speaking, to say, I need to sell this thing. I need to get rid of it right now because of extenuating circumstances. Well, that means that your asset that you own, called a business, is going to be, it's not going to be in your hands. You're going to have to go with whatever you're told your business value, the value of your business actually is. The third type is what we talk about here, and the wise decision that I made, and the wise decision that many of you that are here in the room have made, a lot of our past clients have made, is to say, I want to custom tailor my exit. And that means that you're going to be in control of 3 things: the time, the money, and the terms of the deal. Okay. And as I was at this event, one of the things that I started to realize, I've already known it. I've known it for a long time, but it was crystal clear to me that the person who has the cash is king. They are dictating exits. That was a room full of 150 buyers that were looking for businesses, looking for that edge of how to buy it at a little bit cheaper, how to control the purchase, how to sweeten the deal for them on the buy side. That was a buy side event. And those are the types of things that we do, like Built to Exit. When we say we want to build to exit, we also correspondingly have all of these relationships on the other end: private equity firms, single buyers, roll-ups, all these type of people. So that when we build your business, we have a door to knock on and say, hey, we've got this company that's ready to sell. And so knowing their approach, knowing the deals that they're making, knowing the strategies, knowing how they're coming at it, helps us help our business owners structure their businesses in such a way that, whether, if somebody's buying in the marketing realm, which a lot of these people that we were at this event with, if they're buying in the marketing realm, how are they buying so that if you have a marketing team and you put yourself through the built to exit systems and processes, how can we position you for the most money, the least amount of time to collect that money, and the terms of the deal of how you get out of it. Okay. I'm going to do a show here in the next couple of weeks about all of the different tactics the buy side is looking to employ for you on the sell side as you're building your business to exit, because it's helpful to know. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to sell my business. And if you don't have the experience of being in the M&A world, M&A stands for mergers and acquisitions. If you don't have that experience in the M&A world, you're going to get a cold bath of reality when you actually enter it. So it's better to be prepared for those conversations, because everybody that's on the acquire side, on the buy side, they want to give you as little cash up front as possible. They want the deal they want you to stay involved in the deal, and for your performance and the performance of the business to dictate whether you're going to get money, the money that they promised you to buy your business. I'm doing quotation marks, to buy your business on the buy side. So they take away as much risk as they possibly can. You can't blame them. Right? But the best thing that you can do with your business is to structure, build, and position your business to take away all of those risks, to take away all of those, the questions of where they're going to say, well, we've got to put money into your business because you didn't do this. We're going to control the time frame. You've got to stay with it. Ultimately, what you want to do is you want to control the amount of money you want to sell for, the timing of the deal, and the terms of the deal. And if you know how they buy, which is the built to exit system, right? You've got to rebuild your foundation and then jump into the gauntlet and then build your company to walk in and go, here, I already prepared it exactly the way that you want to buy it. Don't give me any bull crap about not having this stuff in place. So you're going to have to pay me less, or you're going to have to give me a small amount up front and then pay me out over years. I'm going to have to stay here. Nope. If you want to leave, if you want the top dollar and you want to dictate the terms of how that's going to go down, then you become an incredibly informed seller on the sell side. Okay. If you own a business and you're going to build it to exit, you're on the sell side, which means you need to know what the processes and procedures are on the buy side. And so that's what we want to talk through a little bit here, is how I did that. I just told you that I screwed up 3 businesses. I had 3 bankruptcies back to back to back. Those were involuntary. I didn't grow up wanting to be, lose all of my businesses, have to have employees go away, have my reputation tarnished, have a divorce in the middle of it, to really lose my mind and to be psychologically damaged and drinking. I learned how to drink very heavily during that period of my life. But that's not what I grew up to want to do. That wasn't the outcome that I was seeking, but that's what actually happened because I wasn't built to exit, because I didn't have this podcast, because I didn't have this community of amazing business owners called the Built to Exit community to bounce ideas off of, to do business with. I was doing it alone, mainly because I thought I was alone. Another big reason for the Built to Exit community is for you to realize you're not alone, right? You don't have to spend a dime to come to this podcast to look who's on the stage here. All of these people that are here with you in the audience are business owners that you can reach out to, that relationships have formed with amongst each other, where you're doing business with each other, where you're having conversations with each other. That's why we formed it. Right? Everybody's like, well, when you see something like Built to Exit come to market, you might ask yourself, oh my gosh, not another guru, right? And if those of you that have been listening to me for a very long time, you understand that I have a very anti-guru approach to what we do. I happen to have sold my businesses. I've been blessed to be able to do what I want, where I want, with whom I want. My wife and I spend time rescuing kids in the sex trade. We spend time with anti-domestic violence. We spend time doing the things that we want. And I love business. we both love business, and we both, my wife and I both are doing business. So everything that we're talking about here, we buy businesses. We're currently looking in the medical space to purchase businesses. We're in the cannabis space. We are doing the things that we talk about on a day-to-day basis. This wasn't a one-hit home run that I had made. I sold a business at one point in time and got lucky. I've sold multiple companies. I've purchased multiple companies. I currently am purchasing multiple companies. That is what we do. We're doing it alongside of you. And the reason and the big difference that I wanted to why I say this is because whether you come in and you invest in the build to exit system for you and your business, that doesn't affect and impact me and my family at all. And here's why that matters. Is because a lot of the gurus that are out there are desperate to tell you what you want to be heard, what you want to hear, so that they can pay their rent, so that they can pay their Lambo bill, so that they can make their jet payment or whatever it is. And so your information may be skewed. Maybe it isn't. I'm not here to judge, but I'm telling you that when the 95% of companies that number, 95% of companies fail, has not changed in years, that means the people who are calling themselves the best business advice givers, the best consultants, the best, they are doing a shitty job. Because in business, it is measurement, right? It is my profit going up? Is my the revenue going up? Is my cash flow going up? Is my free cash flow going up? Am I growing my EBITDA? These are numbers that are directly tied to performance. We all have to live by those numbers, right? Now, when you look at the wide world of gurus that are out there, if they haven't given any advice that has impacted that 95% failure number, why are people still listening to them? Okay, I'm not a guru. I'm a business owner just like you who figured out some systems and processes along the way that I've used in the past, that I used to free me and my family, that I continue to use with my family and my wife and the deals that we do. And we just happen to have a love, a passion, and a desire to be able to pass this on to those people who want it. I'm not here to build millions and millions of followers. I don't care about that. What we really are looking for is 600 businesses in the next 5 years that we can help sell their businesses between $5 and $30 million. It's very simple. So if you're one of those people, you should hang out here. If you're not one of those people, you probably are not going to want to hang out here. So it's a very, very simple decision of who you hang out with and where you're getting your information. And so let me get into the subject. I know this is a little bit of a long rant, but I wanted to get some of that stuff out, especially because we've got so many new people testing the water, and because so many of you are talking about the show and telling business owners that this is a place to go to get real information on your business. So I wanted to go through my exit a little bit, and I've done this multiple times in different types of shows, but I wanted to go through, from my perspective, what happened from my zero to exit. And if you want, and I want you to frame it, because I'm always talking to you, the one that's listening. If you walked away from your business today, would it make you rich or would it bury you? Are you a business owner that's looking to build your company into a machine that creates cash? I'm Jason Sisneros, chairman and founder of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has turned around, merged, or prepped for sale hundreds of companies just like yours. I'm best known as the architect when it comes to fixing and building companies across the globe. My experience comes from owning and exiting over 20 of my own companies successfully. It's that real-world experience that I've converted into the ultimate blueprint that has saved and grown my clients' businesses. If you're tired of getting bad advice, have bought all the books, all the coaching programs, and still aren't seeing the success that you were promised, it might be time to work with a team that
has actual experience and a track record of success. Please scan the QR code or visit antonj.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation to see if we can help you reach your outcomes. That's antonj.com, ANTONJAE.com.
It's a really, really great question for you to ask yourself. If you walked away from your business today, would it bury you or would it make you rich? See, I built, scaled, and sold over 24 businesses, and I can tell you this, most business owners are running straight towards a dead end. It was incredible to me, to be in this 150, maybe 200 people, this room of people that were buying businesses. And let me tell you something, when we say built to exit, and you followed this show more than one show, you're going to hear me talk about two things. You have to assess where you are, and then you have to get very crystal clear about what it is where you're headed. Why are you building your business? When is enough? When is retirement? What does retirement look like? What is the number that you need? And we call that here, very simply, we call that your end game. Okay. And so end game, when I go to these types of events, which are full of people who have really full bank accounts, they are in acquisition mode. They are buying businesses. They are doing the thing that we talk about constantly over and over and over again. And I have a conversation with each and every one of them. I ask them, what's your end game? And they look at me like I have three heads. They look at me like I have three heads all the time. Like, what do you mean? I had a conversation with somebody at the back of the room, and I'm like, hey, after you go to these types of events, do you take a little break? And they looked at me like I had three heads. I'm like, my wife and I go to these things. We like to either take a long time getting home or go to a beach or whatever, because these things are exhausting to be in this kind of a crowd. And it's like it doesn't even dawn on them that there should be an end game, right? The hope, the sheer, I'm trying to put this into words, y'all, and excuse my stuttering just a little bit, because when I walk into a room of people who are absolutely crushing it financially and in business and in the business world, and there is no shine behind the eye. If you know what I mean, if you understand the phrase that I'm using, there's no shine behind the eye. In other words, they're doing this because they're on some, yes, it's a nice treadmill, but a treadmill yet the same is, oh my gosh, yes, I'm making money, but now I've built my lifestyle to a place where I have to keep doing this shit. Like, I have to pay the bills. I have to do that. And so there's this desperation with no plan to say, how do I get to the other side of this? And what happens is your life energy starts to be sucked out of you. I know when I see that look in somebody's eye, I know it because I had it before. I was like, I'm going to have to run this hard until the day that I die. And that's what happens to most business owners. We run ourselves so hard with no end game in place that we just freaking die of a heart attack or alcoholism or bad relationships or whatever. There's different types of death. And when I'm in a room of successful people and I see that the light has gone out for most of them, that's why I know Built to Exit has been created for a reason. It's to reset that spark. It's to go, no. You're doing awesome things. You have a business. You are a business owner. Remember that you have started doing this because you are a rebel at spirit. You have a fire in your gut. You do not want to be controlled by working for somebody else. And Mark Anderson put it really well in a podcast. He said, if you're an entrepreneur, it's not something that you can hope to be. It's something that you cannot not be. If you're a business owner, it's something that you cannot not be. You can't not be the person who's in control of your own destiny, whether that's going to drive you to drinking, whether that's going to drive you to divorce, whether that's going to drive you to not spending time with your kids, to whether that's going to drive you to an early grave. There is no other option for people like us. There is no other option. And so at the end of the day, we have to keep focused on what is the outcome, why I hammer down so hard on why you've got to get crystal clear on your end game is for that reason. When you realize it, when you get clear on here's why I'm doing what I'm doing, that light comes back, the purpose comes back, the strategy comes back, the spark and everything that when you started that business comes back. So that's the core. The core. And at the event that I was hanging out with all of these people, not everybody, because it's not an everybody thing, but for the most part, when you have high achievers, people with checkbooks that can go and ride your or buy your business, when you have those type of things that are going on, and you don't have that spark, this is the 100% reason why I talk about endgame all the time. I did it in this room. I did it for 4 days at this event, and just having those conversations. Why are you doing what you're doing? And I watched the light come back on. And that's my favorite part of what I do. Like I said at the beginning of this, I don't do this stuff. This is not my main source of revenue on Built to Exit. It's something that's a passion play for me, something that I'm extraordinarily excited about when somebody decides I'm going to be one of those 600 that wants to sell my business between 5 and 30 million, because it's never about the 5 to 30 million dollars. It's about what the 5 to 30 million dollars is going to buy for you. It's the freedom that you're going to have. It's that trip around the world with a loved one. It's the charity that you want to fund. It's whatever it is that you want to do with your career and with your life, and to be able to live life before you die, instead of just looking forward to having a heart attack at your desk and having made no impact and not lived the life that you wanted to experience. That's who I'm talking to. Not a bunch of bullshitters that are like, I want the snake oil. I want the this. I want the get to rich. I want the $150 million business in 10 minutes. Like, that's all bullshit. This environment is set up specifically for people who don't swallow horse shit. Okay. This environment is set up specifically for people who know that it's going to be, there's specific strategies in play, that you have to be disciplined. You have to behave differently than the 95% of companies that are failing. It's built for people who are tired of people lying to them. That was me. All you get when you invest in the Built to Exit program, all you get is what I've done. That's it. You don't get my speculation. You don't get my, and 80%, by the way, of the stuff that I've done, I've learned from other people, right? I've learned from other people. And 20% of what we built is proprietary to me, just being a process improvement person. That's how we got to where we are. Okay, so let's jump in. Sorry, I'm feeling a little ranty today because it was nice being in a room of nothing but performers. Was awesome. It was they were people that were absolutely doing what we talk about here. They're buying the businesses that we talk about. All right, so let me give you some of the notes here of what I did. And just make a note. These are the same things you can do. We can help you do them. Obviously, at builttoexit.biz, we talk about assessment. That's where you are. And then after that, you can have a conversation with me or one of our strategists on your end game to get that right. And what that does is create the gap, right? And where you are and where you want to go, there's a gap in between. And we have the strategies. What kind of assets is it going to take to build an asset that will sell between $5 and $30 million, so that you could do whatever it is that you want to do? Start another business, start a charity, go sail the 7 seas with you and your loved one, whatever it is. Okay. Why most people, so let's talk about the $0 start, and just consider it. I don't care how much money your business is doing right now. It doesn't matter. Let's consider this moment your $0 start, and why people never really get past that first dollar. Most businesses are doomed before they start because the owner is just creating another job for themselves. There's, and this is what I did. Obviously, looking back on what I did, I started a company I got involved in a business. I started to sell. I was like, I want to own this thing. The owner was like, okay, I'll sell it to you. Okay, here's a funny story. And I'm going to go deeper into this at some point. But my first business, the guy, I had nothing more than balls and testosterone. That's all I had. I had zero brains. And when I say zero brains, it wasn't that I wasn't smart. But I knew no strategies. I knew no tactics. I didn't know anything about business. Remember, my background was from a drug dealing family. That's the only business I knew, and it was on cash accounting. Those of you that know the drug business will appreciate that joke. But at the end of the day, I knew nothing. I literally just had balls and testosterone to go out and make something happen. And the guy that I was buying my very first business from, I found this out much later, was selling me the company because it was failing miserably and he wanted to have me to blame it on. Now, being so stupid, being so ignorant of business tactics and I couldn't read a P&L. I had no idea knowing nothing, I was like, I didn't even question myself. Why would this guy who's owned this business for 20 years be giving me, just being in his business I worked for him for about a year, and he had 30 other employees that we had working at the business. Why would he choose me? I didn't think about that question. I didn't think to ask myself, why is he choosing me to buy the business? Now, I did have the gumption to say, I want to buy this business. I didn't know what that meant at the time when I did it, but I should have thought, why is this guy saying yes to me? Well, it was because the business was in massive financial trouble. And so what I did was like, okay, great. I'm an owner. And I went out and I sold. I worked 5 days during the week, selling and driving to multiple different towns to go sell carpet and window coverings and tile and all that other kind of stuff. And then when on the weekends to make my payment to him, I would go install carpet and window coverings and tile to make my pay. So for 5 years straight, I busted my ass, one vacation in 5 years of 5 days of selling, 7 days of installing, or 2 days of installing. I did that for 5 years straight. And by the time we got done with the end of it, it was the fastest closing for a business that bank had ever done, because I built so much value into it with just ignorant exercise and pushing hard and just having an absolute no quit in my belly. Now, fast forward 4 years after that, that was my very first bankruptcy. So it's not a story. Yes, the story starts really cool, but it ends in my first bankruptcy that then kicked into 2 other bankruptcies back to back. So when I look back at what I could have done differently, and what I have done differently is that I hope you can see, like, through all of the things that we talk about here, my story is not it's not about fancy branding. It's literally about survival. It's about what almost everybody who watches this show and has owned a business, you just do shit. Right? You just do shit so that and sometimes you think to yourself, it is an absolute miracle that I'm still in business. How did I meet payroll all of these years? How did I make my rent payment? How did I do all those kind of things? So, not about branding. It's just about survival. How you got the first customer, the first sale, why most people quit before they even get there, because revenue is oxygen. Stop overcomplicating things and get money in the door. That was my answer to most problems. Now, still an answer, but there's other things to it. So what do I mean by the built to exit method? You don't have a business unless it runs without you. And here's what I did differently to get away from my first stage of business, making my first dollar, to building a business for exit. And we can call this the 4 systems. By the way, these 4 systems are exactly the systems that need to be in place to be purchasable, to have a conversation, to be able to control that conversation. Okay. Sales machine, build a predictable, repeatable revenue system. Don't just keep selling. Don't just keep, going, oh, I'm just going to, I hope I'm going to get that. You have to have a system in place that builds repeatable, predictable revenue. The leads have to be predictable. This is what happens when you're going to get your own life back, and B, you're going to have a system that somebody else wants to buy. It starts with having predictable, repeatable revenue that they can go, okay, I'm going to buy this business for 5, 10, 15, 20, $30 million from you. And I need to make sure that I'm going to be able to get that back. Now, common sense tells you that if they're going to pay you a check, or they're going to write you a check for $10 million, if you were the one writing the $10 million, you want as much certainty as you possibly can that you can get that you're going to get that $10 million back. That's the investor mindset. That's the private equity mindset. That's the roll-up concept. That is the concept and the idea behind anybody who's going to write a check for your business. So you've got to start in that area. Now, there's about 20 to 30 systems and assets that you need to build for your sales to be predictable. But that is these are the things that we talk about in the Built to Exit system. Now, the other one, operational efficiency. So why most businesses are a dumpster fire of inefficiency, and how I cleaned mine up is, and this is the other thing, when people look at your business, they might go, I could buy your business. It's got decent revenue, but I can come in and I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to cut that. And they go in and they look for efficiencies in your business to say, okay, some of the revenue we could make up here, some of the profitability, I'm going to make more money. They don't buy your business so that it'll do exactly what it's done for you. They buy it because they think that it's going to be able to grow and be sustainable for a period of 5 to 7 years. And so they look at your business and go, what kind of efficiencies can we create? Now, some of that is scale efficiencies, and as in they're bigger, they've got, more platform, they've got more buy power, they can get better prices. Some of that is things that you can't control because you're a one level entity. But what you can control is going to them with the most efficient, budgeted business that you can possibly get to it so that you keep that money, right? Because they're going to say, oh, we're going to get rid of this, get rid of this. They just don't pay you that in the sale of the price. They have to go, we're going to get that efficiency. Therefore, we're going to take the benefit of it. You get sales in place, you get efficiencies in place. Now you're controlling the price of the asset called your business. Okay. Leadership and delegation, right? The moment that I stopped being the smartest person in the room and I hired better people and I learned to delegate, that's when somebody comes in to buy the business, I'm not part of it. Think about it this way. If you sell your business to somebody and you're required to be there for it, they bought you. I don't want you to think of yourself as for sale. I don't want you to think of yourself as somebody who can be purchased. And this is one of the biggest pieces of control that we give people, our clients back, is in the terms, I don't come with the deal. You're buying my machine that I created, a machine that creates cash. You're buying my machine. Big Daddy ain't part of that deal. So if I'm required, that means that now they control me. I've just sold myself to somebody else, and I'm going to have to show up for business. I'm going to have to show up. I'm going to have to drive the results of the rest. Why would I even sell at that point? Right? Because let me tell you a quick dirty secret. A deal is done. The owner decides, yes, I'll be a part of it to ensure it's going to grow. Yeah, you guys can pay me out along the way. 80% of businesses fall apart, of these business deals fall apart post-close. Right? What does that mean? They do the deal. We're going, well, okay, cool. I'm with you. You're buying my business. I'm here, and it starts to fall apart. The owner decides that, oh, I'm going to go take a vacation. Everybody in the business, they didn't do a lot of post purchase planning. And then all of a sudden, the person who thought they sold their business for $5, $10, $15, $20 million gets the keys handed back to them and go, look, we're out. This was a shitty idea. We don't think we can make our money. Here's your business back. And it's going to be in every single one of the purchase contracts that they can give you back the keys after you think you've made a sale. This is why controlling money and time and terms is radically important for you as the business owner. Okay, so the last piece, we talked about sales being predictable. We talked about leadership and delegation. We talked about having clear and clean financials to be able to track. And the fourth piece is having an exit strategy from day one. A clearly enunciable, delineated exit plan. You start with that. And when we, again, with our process, we get your assessment, we get where you're going. You go, okay, cool. I want into the B2X system. I want to start building. You get a strategist who knows exactly how to walk you through this. And the very first piece that we want to build is after we get out of that first phase is to make sure that you have an exit plan built so that you can execute for 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, whenever it is that you decide you want to sell, but you build and walk your way through that process. So once I understood what buyers really wanted to see to give the highest payout, I structured my business that way. And then what happened? I structured the next one that way. The next one. 20 plus times I've done that. Okay. We're in the process of doing it right now. I built, the businesses that I built did not require me in the day-to-day. I had thousands of employees and maybe spent at the height of how many businesses and how many employees I had, I was spending maybe 10 hours a week touching base on with my management teams. That's what the buyer wanted to see. I wasn't handing over a headache. I was handing over a machine. Okay. So in closing, let me challenge you. Where are you today? Are you just grinding just to keep the lights on? Do you own a business or does it own you? If you don't have a plan to exit, you're just building your own prison. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you design. One of my favorite statements. Okay. One of my favorite statements. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you design. I had 3 conversations this week with people that were like, you know what? I've been, this kind of professional. If I say it, whoever, I'm not calling anybody out, but I'm this sort of professional. I've been doing this for 20 years. I deserve to get paid X, Y, and Z. Right. And then I had another conversation with a guy that was like, hey, I've been doing this sales position and I've been putting in my time and I've been grinding. I deserve this amount of money. And I'm like, who do you people think you are? You don't get shit that you deserve in this life. There is no such thing as deserve. Yeah, you might have put in the time. Yeah, you might have put in the time to go to school. You might be a Harvard graduate. You might be, some vaunted person that has made money and you put in time. Like whatever but none of us get what we deserve. We get what we design. We get what we put dedication into. We put what other people, when we've fallen in love with the outcome of other people and we meet that need at the highest level, then we have earned, not deserve. We get what we earn. We get what we design. This deserve bullshit, if you have any of that in your spirit, you should eliminate it. You should crush it. You should burn it out of your soul. Because there's no such thing as deserve. You don't deserve shit. You get what you've earned. And by the way, in business, you could do all of the things right. You could do all of the things right and have something come in and blow it up. COVID, that was good for some people's businesses. We helped a lot of people pivot during that period, and it devastated a lot of other people. And then the response of a corrupt, idiotic government to COVID, to the small business community. You didn't have anything to do with that, but it ruined a lot of people. 9/11, there's things that happen, interest rates going up or down. There are things that you cannot control. And so it comes down to being disciplined, knowing the game, knowing the strategy, knowing the tactics, knowing the inside ball, and not just sitting back going, because I made $100,000 last month, I'm going to make it this month. No, it's not what we do. We structure, we design, and we build to exit, to our very specific exit. That's the discipline. So we built a free assessment for people to take, a real assessment. We used to, again, it used to be for businesses that we would help that paid $50,000 to work with us. It was the first thing that they got before they went and worked with us. So if you go to builttoexit.biz right now, you take the assessment, it's free. Click on a Calendly, you get on with one of my strategists for 30 minutes to have a conversation about your business. None of that costs anything. And as I've said very much, if you get to the end of that process, decide not to work with us, but you decide to make a different change in your business and you keep coming to Saturdays, you're going to be good. You're going to do better. You're going to do better. But if you decide to engage with us, we have people in the audience constantly that are graduates, that are in the process with us, that are improving their businesses. We have a very engaged business community that have taken time out of their busy lives, out of their busy businesses to continue to improve so that they can control their destiny. We are in a volatile time. There's never been a time in business that we haven't been in a volatile time. AI is making things questionable. We are obviously, because we're still in business, we're not teaching skill sets from 100 years ago. Those skill sets, there are skill sets from 100 years ago that will always be principles of business and need to be engaged for small and mid-sized companies. Always. The strategies, the technology always changes, going back to the printing press, going back to factories and all of the machineries and then the internet and now AI. It doesn't matter. It's always changing. It's always volatile. But we are in business. My family, my wife, and I, and my team, we are buying businesses. We are growing businesses. We are staffing. We are firing. We are doing all of the shit that we talk about. But yes, we happen to have built systems and processes and made it available to the public for 600 of you to come along the way with us. Because I love it. I love it. I would love for you to be with us. You can build a business that runs you into the ground, or you can build a business that sets you free. I know which one I chose. Now I need to know which one you choose. And if you want to be one of the ones that wants to be free and go do the things that God put on your heart that only you can accomplish in this life, we'd love to be of assistance. And even if we're not of assistance, come here Saturdays, come hang out with us, come into the live portion of what we do. Great conversations are about to happen. I'm about to click off here on the video, and I'm about to click into the live sort of radio version of what we do to have conversations with real business owners. You should be in that conversation. You should meet the people that are in that room. Go to Twitter, x.com, at the J Sisneros at 9 a.m. every single Saturday, and that's where we are. Otherwise, go to builttoexit.biz, fill in the assessment, have a conversation with one of our professionals. I hope to meet you. I'm constantly on the road. I'm constantly speaking at events. And you can go to jasonsisneros.com to check out where I'm going to be. Come and give me a high five, a hug, whatever it is that you're into. And I wish you a lot of great luck. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking your time to watch this episode, to be able to hang out with us. And I hope that you return. Follow us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Twitter for sure. And we'll see you next week. I'm Jason Sisneros. This has been another episode of Built to Exit. Talk to you later. Peace.